Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. Today, we have Krishna Patel as our today's mentor. Krishna is a freelance outdoor educator with experience of around 7 years. And today, she is going to talk about what outdoors exactly is and what is its importance, what are the different career opportunities that you will find in this field of outdoors. So, without much further delay, I hand over the session to you, Krishna. And also for the audience, I request you, if you have any questions, please keep them for the end, where we will be having our question and answer session. Thank you so much. Over to you, Krishna.
Hi everyone, I am Krishna and today we'll talk about career in the field of outdoors. Recently on the internet, I saw this sentence that I was waiting to use in a setting. So here it is. Hope you all are staying positive and testing negative. I had been waiting to use this line since a long time and I felt that this was the perfect opportunity to use it. So today, I'll be covering the following topics that you see in the presentation. We'll talk about what the importance of outdoors is, what are the different fields in the outdoors, and how you can pursue it. As Apurva mentioned, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box. And if it is a really important question and you think it needs to be addressed at the same time, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask me that question. So before we get on, I'd like to introduce myself a lot more. Uh, I have been working for 7 years in this field. I started when I was 16 by volunteering. And then as I started understanding what the outdoors is, I decided what stream I wanted to take in. And I got myself into outdoor education. I am also a trip leader and a certified wilderness first responder. I'll cover what a trip leader is and what wilderness first responder is in the next couple of minutes. I've worked with schools and corporates. I currently work a lot more with children, and I have freelanced in India, US, and Australia in the past couple of years. My favorite adventure activities are rock climbing, backpacking, and hiking. During this lockdown, I got interested in gardening, and that's why you see the mention. I've been growing my own vegetables, and that is a new skill that I've developed in this lockdown. Um, so let's start with what outdoor recreation is. So outdoor recreation is any physical activity outside. It could be in the open environment. It could be in your parking lot. As long as you're not inside, you can call it outdoors. And it is in a setting which provides you the opportunity to connect with the environment, whether individually, in small groups, or as a community to the outdoor environment. So that is outdoors. There are various activities that you could do to achieve this particular outcome. Now, when we talk about importance, outdoor recreation, I personally feel, plays an important part in your physical, intellectual, emotional, and social uh, development. When we talk about physical, I think the most important development is that you stay fit. It also gives you the opportunity to develop some new skills. It could be technical, it could be emotional. So the next bit is intellectual importance. When you stay in the outdoors, it gives you the opportunity to improve in your decision making. You create an environment where you are thinking independently. You also develop skills like problem solving. So that are some examples for intellectual importance. Then when we get onto emotional importance, the outdoors plays an important role in reducing your stress levels. It also reduces your anxiety. It helps you develop resilience. It gives you the opportunity to build up on your self-confidence. You become more self-aware. Now, to focus on intellectual development, I think it is a personal development for me. When I was 16 and before I started volunteering, I was the most shy, innocent um, person, I could say, because when I was a child, I was barely able to go shop as well. When I started volunteering, when I started getting outdoors, it provided me the opportunity to get out of my comfort zone. It helped me develop confidence as well. And my mother was really happy. And I think that is one of the reasons why she's so happy to see me continue in this field. The other development in emotional is I think we finished emotional. In social development is it helps you build inter and intrapersonal relationships. It provides you the opportunity to connect with people, understand them, develop on your social skills, and the most important, environmental importance as well. The more you get into the outdoors, the more you do the activities, you realize how much the environment has to offer, how beautiful it is, and how we can, you know, change our environmental activities so that it benefits and doesn't damage it more. Now, moving on, when we talk about who can participate, of course, children's, adults, there's no age limit on who can participate. Even there are so many programs where senior citizens are involved. Now, the new thing is, or a different thing rather, is that people with special needs can also participate in the outdoors. There are so many organizations who have now started designing programs where people with disabilities are also able to experience the outdoors just like any other human could. There are schools who develop programs where even people are able to summit a mountain or go kayaking, go canoeing. So literally in outdoors, there is no age barrier or any barrier at all. Um, Now, the other thing that also is good is that people with medical conditions are also able to participate. We have worked with participants who are asthmatic, who've got diabetes. So there is no stopping to get into the outdoors. Anybody can participate in the outdoors. For example, when I talk about medical conditions, I personally had students who are asthmatic and diabetic. Yes, when you initially think about it, you feel like it is a huge responsibility. But if the conditions are right, if the environment you've created is safe and you've got really good support, um, there is there it is not difficult at all. Yes, you need to be a little bit more alert and careful, but you can definitely provide everybody an experience that they will remember forever. Um, Now, the different types of activities involved are, as you can see on the screen, these are just limited activities that I've personally done and I've personally heard of. But there are so many more activities. Like if you Google it, you'd find almost 50 to 70 activities that are involved in the outdoors, and not many of us have heard of it as well. So there's bouldering, bushwalking, camping, canoeing, etc. And through these activities, you need to link up your program you're designing or the career path you decide to take, and give everybody the experience they need. Now I'll be talking about the different fields involved, like the different career opportunities that you could look in the field of outdoors. So the first one is, and my most favorite, I should say, is outdoor education. So outdoor education is organized learning. It is also a mixture of experiential education. Now, what exactly experiential education is? It is learning from doing things. Unlike a classroom setting where you sit in the class and the teacher teaches you things, outdoor education is more like a school without walls. You are in the outdoors. You do learn things from you learn things you learn things from doing it yourself. Uh, Outdoor education can also teach you some skills you learned in school. It also helps you develop your personal interaction. What do you say? Like I mentioned before, it helps you with your physical, intellectual, emotional, and social development as well. So it is organized learning. you combine activities together along with facilitation, and you create the environment where your students are comfortable, and then you facilitate the outcomes you need to achieve. It usually happens in a journey-based setting, in a residential setting or a school setting. By journey, I mean you are away from all the resources, you're away from the city, you are on a multiple day program, and it is usually where you have to be self-efficient. You you carry your own food, you carry your own water, and you're out in the backcountry for 3 to 4 days. The residential program is somewhat similar, except that you are in a campsite. But along with staying in the campsite, you're doing various activities like either climbing, cycling, or ropes course. So you're mixing a variety of games and activities, but you're staying in the same spot. In a school setting, you could play certain games on the school playground or whatever your location is, and achieve the outcomes that are mentioned by the school. Um, you could also teach some of environmental education. You could stress on the fact of how the environment works and what we need to do to preserve it the way it is. Usually in outdoor education, a lot of schools are involved because they would like to see their students develop in their intellectual development or emotional or social well-being. So when you talk about outdoor education, a lot of times it is more focused on schools, on their students, and you take the students and do the activities as I mentioned before. When we talk about getting into the field of outdoors, you really don't know what a big impact you play on your participants. You may not be aware of it, but you really help them in their development. Uh, so then we move on to a mountain guide. Mountain guiding is a person who is a certified mountaineer. Uh, you need to have a locally or a internationally certified certificate. You undergo a lot of training, and you need to be perfect at it because, as we all know, India is an abode to the Himalayas as well. And we have a lot of opportunities to become a mountaineer as well. If you Google, you can find a lot of certifications that are recognized internationally as well. So if you become a mountaineer, you could instruct and lead groups into mountaineering and summiting high altitude treks. So this is mountain guiding. Then you could also look at being a corporate trainer. Now, these days, a lot of corporate companies like to have their employees get out on the field. They would like people to come and conduct team building activities for them, conduct social activities for them, where it helps them perform better and effectively when they are working in their company. So through games and activities, you can facilitate team building and get their employees closer so that it benefits the company's development. So you could get into corporate training. Um, then there is adventure therapy. This is fairly new. Not a lot of us are aware of it, but it does have therapeutic outcomes. A lot of psychologists are now recommending adventure therapy because it has the ability to address adverse life circumstances as well. It is accomplished in a wilderness setting where it is away from negative influences and free of negative influences that people usually experience in the real world. Um, it- Adventure therapy also helps people to overcome drug or alcohol addiction and also get rid of mental health problems. So, adventure therapy is quite a new field. If you're interested into psychology as well, this is a really good pathway where you can link outdoor activities and psychology as well. I have mentioned a link here, but at the end of this session, I will also upload it in the chat box. It is a really nice read and it will give you a deep sense of what adventure therapy is. To become an adventure therapist, yes, you need to be a trained mental health professional. So also look at psychology degree if you are looking to combine the outdoors and your study as well. Um, Moving on, program coordinator is another role which involves a lot of planning. If you're looking at spending some time in the field as well as a desk job as well, program coordinator is perfect. You do a lot of planning. You need to do preparation. You coordinate with your clients, your team, and you need to document at the end of the trip as well. So this is more like a behind the scenes job, and it is quite an important one because if your planning is perfect, you can already foresee that your program is going to be really good as well. This also gives you an opportunity to manage the team. Um, so program coordination is also, it does also involve paperwork, and if you like paperwork and also being in the outdoors, then this is a perfect position as well. Then if you have mastered a certain skill, you could also become a trainer. We do need trainers in this field so that the new folks can come and develop themselves really well. You need to, as it's mentioned, you need to master an activity. It could be cycling, it could be climbing, it could be hiking. If you like a particular sport, just go ahead and master it. Um, when you become a trainer, you need to develop and design an entire program. You need to plan outcomes of what you want to achieve from this training. What do you want your participants to develop? What do you want them to go back with? So this would be your role of a trainer. Um, then you could get into program designing. Program designing is where you are given a duty of designing an itinerary. You get to design what you want to the participants to take back from that event, or the journey. So you could design programs. You could design a day program. You could design 3-day programs. It is up to you, as long as it's meeting the requirements given by the client. Then if you would like to expand, then you could become an entrepreneur. You could start your own business. You could, if you have specialized skill, I'm sure you would have the knowledge of gear as well. So you could start your own gear shop. You could start your own travel company. Um, Various things. If you're innovative, you could start something new in this field as well. So you could be an entrepreneur. Then you can be an outdoor education teacher. Now, an outdoor education teacher in the Western countries, outdoor education is given the importance by the government as well. So if you see the curriculum of schools or colleges, they have an outdoor education department and they have a subject of outdoor education. So if you plan on expanding, you can become a teacher in a school as well, where you design, you train, you take your students out on multiple day or day activities and facilitate the skills to them. Then you could also become an activity specialist, where, as we mentioned before, you master a skill and you just are focused on that particular activity. So you know everything right from how to lead groups to how to rescue people or how to rescue somebody, say if there's a scenario. So these are certain other career opportunities that you could develop once you get into the field of outdoors. Now, to pursue it, the first thing I'd say is get out. Staying indoors is not going to help you develop any skills. So you need to go look for certain clubs that you could join. Uh, there are a lot of clubs for climbing, mountaineering, biking. You just need to research, talk to people, and maybe join them so that you can start learning skills. You can start volunteering for them as well in order to learn what you want. So in order to pursue this field, you need to really be open to learning because, in my opinion, you never stop learning. There is so much to learn as you progress years and years later as well. Um, there are always some new techniques, there are always some new developments, new progressions that you need to upgrade yourself. So be open to learning. You need to be physically strong and yes, mentally strong as well. uh, Working in the outdoors, when somebody says that I'm an activity instructor, I'm a field instructor, I'm an outdoor educator, it always feels like it is a stress free of stress job. We are never stressed at all because as outdoors plays an important role in reducing stress. When you go as a leader or an educator, yes, you do have responsibility on your shoulders, and you do feel stressed at times. So you really need to be mentally strong as well. Then you could start volunteering, as I mentioned before. Once you have a knowledge of what outdoors is, am I really liking this activity? You can also look at beginner courses. For example, if you want to rock climb, there are a lot of companies who provide beginner courses where they teach you belaying, they teach you what rock climbing is. Um, they teach you how to maintain your gear. So to develop skills, you need to attend certain beginner courses as well, where they start from the basics and then you can upgrade later. There are activity specific courses as well, where you can like we mentioned before, you can become an activity specialist. So if you say you want to develop sea kayaking skills, you can just specifically apply for a sea kayaking course and maybe learn the details of it as well. Or after doing the sea kayaking course, you feel like you want to do mountain biking, you can apply for that event as well. And as Barack Obama said, if you keep walking down the right path and you're willing to learn, eventually you'll make progress. So just, once you enter it, just don't stop. Somebody had once told me that if you don't get butterflies in your stomach or the adrenaline rush every time you do it, then I don't think you are liking it. So every time, for example, even when I go abseiling or climbing, I always get butterflies in my stomach, and I think that's what motivates me to complete the particular task as well. Coming on to qualifications, um, you need to go and do a wilderness first aid or a wilderness first responder course. Now, why am I stressing on you need to do it? Because most of the times you're going to be outside, you're going to be in the back country where the ambulance or the nearest hospital would be minimum an hour away. Now, since you would be leading a lot of participants in the field, you do need to have skills to stabilize the person, or control the situation where, say, somebody's injured, or they have a grave medical issue as well. So wilderness first aid or wilderness first responder course gives you the opportunity to learn the first aid and how to stabilize your patient so that you can get them safely to a hospital or a medical ambulance as well. So have a look at wilderness first responder or a first aid course. The second important skill you need are soft skills. Say you have done activity specific courses, you've done rock climbing courses, but you need some soft skills to deliver it, right? To know how to communicate it to your participants, or how to communicate with your colleagues, say there's a situation or a scenario. So your soft skills need to be really good as well. How you're going to brief your participants, how you're going to do a reflection session, say there is an outcome that they need to achieve. So have a look at soft skill courses as well. A lot of soft skills involves leadership, how you could be a better leader, how you can improve your judgment and decision making, how you can be self-aware. A lot of companies in India as well provide these certifications as well. And then, of course, to stay in this field, you need to have technical skills as well. So these are certain qualifications that you should look at to get into this field. Um, this is what was there for today. And you need to stay safe. Don't need to be reckless, and you need to have fun. So please prioritize on your safety when you are in this field, when you get out, because you will be away from medical support. So don't take unnecessary risks. If your gut says don't do it, you shouldn't be doing it. If you have any questions, I am ready to take them now. Or if you have a scenario or an incident that you would like to share with everybody, please feel free to share that as well.
Guys, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, till that time, Krishna, I want to ask you that,
Yes.
as you mentioned, while working with groups or people having a medical condition or uh, diabetes and other disabilities,
Yes.
is there any additional course that you have to do while dealing with that people, or does that come under your course?
So when we talk about managing medical situations, I think the confidence comes from and the skill comes from when you do a wilderness first aid or a first responder course. So I had already done these courses, and everywhere the requirement is that you need to have a basic first aid certification. So I had done a wilderness first responder course, and that is what gave me the knowledge to deal with the situation better, to know what diabetes is or to know what asthma is, how it is caused, and how I can treat it. So that is why I was able to deal with the scenario so well. Had I not known how to manage it, I think I would have just been helpless and wouldn't know what would have happened.
Right.
So yes, that is where the skill comes from, support.
Okay, cool. So we have our first question by Akanksha.
Yes.
Where can we get the first aid response first responder course done from? So are there any recommended courses that you will like to share?
You do have first aid courses, as Vedant mentioned, in Red Cross Society.
Okay.
If you want to do a wilderness first responder course, it is a 10-day course. And in India, currently at the moment, Knowles and Hannaford Center, they provide it. I'm sure there are plenty more, but these are the two I'm aware of. You could have a look online as well, but if you're looking at a first aid course, then I think you should go for a wilderness responder, since it is a 10-day one and it gives you a lot more detail of what it is.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Akanksha. Second question is by Anu. Please elaborate about adventure psychologists.
I'm just going to put the link, give me a minute, in the chat box. Um, so adventure therapy, I am honestly quite new to it as well. But I have friends who work there, and they are into adventure therapy as well. I've mentioned the link. You can have a look at. It'll give you a more sense of what adventure therapy is. But you deal with a lot of people who've been through trauma, and you use your adventure skills to facilitate um, the thing as well. So you facilitate adventure activities, and you combine your psychological training as well. You combine both, and then you achieve the outcome that they are there for. Most of the times, as I mentioned, you have drug addicts, you have alcohol addicts. So you are trying and getting them out of that scenario. Have a link. I'll try my best to find contacts as well of how they can achieve it. But currently India, I think it is very few. So you'd have to look at US or Australia websites to understand it a lot more.
Cool. So I hope that answers your question. So guys, if you have any more questions, please type them in the chat box or unmute yourself. So
Hey,
yeah.
hey, hi Krishna. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I wanted to ask. I like to go more hiking outdoors. I explore a lot in the mountains.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask. So I want to explore more on new areas which I haven't been before, and which is not a like a trek that a company is take or somewhere. I want to explore more in the mountain areas. So what
Yeah.
all things I should be prepared and keeping in mind if I'm going by myself or taking my friends to a trek which is unknown, or I know the location, I know what the direction, but I'm going there for the first time. So is
Okay.
that advisable first of all? And then what all steps I need to be ready with before going?
Okay, Nitin, so if you know where you're going and where you're going to be going, I think you first need to have certain technical skills as well. Even if you're going by yourself, I think you need to be really good at your map reading as well. Um, Now, when we talk about map reading, you need to have maps, you need to know how to use a compass. So have a look at that as well. You need to train yourself in managing scenarios as well. You need to know, you need to be good at your judgment and decision making as well. Before you go on the hike, you need to plan really well as well. You need to consider the weather, you need to consider the terrain. You also need to plan out uh, what ifs, like what is your backup if you are not able to achieve it, or something happens, what are you going to do, what is your backup plan, uh, what is your emergency response, if you get lost, who are you going to contact, what are the contacts, if somebody is injured and you're taking your friends and somebody gets injured, who are you going to contact, what are you going to do, what are the possible scenarios that could take place when I go hiking in this particular spot that nobody has been there. So before you get on, you need to plan really well. You need to take into consideration everything like what can go wrong, what do I need. So first plan really well. Then when you say you want to take your friends as well, that means that you should have the knowledge to deal with participants as well. Here, if your friends don't have any knowledge about hiking or anything, they are going to be your participants since you are going to be the knowledgeable one. So you need to consider that as well. Like you need to put out details on what your friends need to carry. You need to give them a detail of where you're going and what you are going to be doing as well. So you need to communicate that as well. Now, when you say I'm going to a new location and I've just read about it and I've never been there, uh, I'll share a story with you. Last week, I think the government had put up a red alert for thunderstorms. And a couple of friends and me, we were planning to go on a hike where only two groups had gone before. And we were planning, we really wanted to do it. Now, I think the good bit was that the friends that were going with, they're all outer educators. They've all worked in this field and they have a skill set. So it is like it was easy to rely on each other since we were all equally skilled as well. We wanted to do the trek which only two people had done. But when we got onto planning, we realized that the government has issued a red alert for the weather. So there are chances of thunderstorm. Now, it is not advisable to go in the field as during thunderstorms because everybody knows that lightning strikes at the highest point. And if you're going to be hiking on the mountain, then definitely the chance of us getting struck by lightning is quite high. So that was an elimination for us. The second thing was the the fact that only two people had been there before. We did not have maps. All we had was an image that this is the particular trail and this is what we are going to do. But we did not have a detailed information of how the terrain is. Do we have water or any other resources? So that was another red flag as well. So considering these factors, we decided to push on the plan to a later date, which gives us the opportunity to explore more, to get in touch with people who've already done that, and then plan out, is it really worth doing it right now, or should we wait till it's winters or summers? I hope that answers your question, Nitin.
Yeah. So next
Yes.
question is from Akansha. Are there any particular requirements for pursuing mountaineering?
Uh, yes, so you won't achieve the skills till you get onto a mountaineering course. A lot of institutes in India provide mountaineering courses. There's basic mountaineering, there's advanced mountaineering. If you want to do mountaineering for yourself, then you should do these courses for sure, since they provide an opportunity to understand what mountaineering is, what type of terrain you're going to uh, experience, what are the skills required to overcome the terrain, what risks are involved in mountaineering. So get onto a mountaineering course and first experience, understand what mountaineering is. Say you like it and you want to become better at it, you can enroll yourself in expeditions as well, where you get a first-hand of experience in planning, preparation, doing the hike. Not necessarily you would summit it, but there's so much you can learn from it as well. And then if you would like to lead participants into mountaineering, there are certain international certifications that certify you as a mountain guide as well. So you can look at, so it's a slow progression, but definitely worth it.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Akansha. So next question is from Suchitra.
Yeah.
Do all adventure companies hire volunteers? Any specific company you would like to recommend to start with?
Um, yes, as long as uh, I, I think a lot of travel companies and adventure companies do look for help, since a lot of people who work there usually start with volunteering. And by volunteering, you don't have a contract or you're not tied up with them. So, say you are available from Monday to Friday and they have a program running on Thursday and Friday, then they certainly need somebody to come and help them out with a particular activity, since they don't have others to cover up. So if you'd like to start, you can look up online. You can look at journeys as well. Drop them an email and write that you would like to volunteer and just experience the field. And I'm sure they would like to uh, have you experience how they work as well. I think right now the industry is quite slow due to the pandemic, but you can start with the application process right now, and I'm sure this industry is going to recover quite quick. So maybe by next year you should start getting out in the field as well.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Suchitra. And for the people who are interested in adventure therapy, Aditya Patil just have posted a link, so you can go through that. Next question is by Pahul. Is it possible for a college student to volunteer for outdoor activities?
Pahul, awesome question. Yes, 100% yes. I started when I completed my 10th boards, and when I was in 11th grade, I started volunteering. Um, if you really want to get out in the field, what I'd done is I'd given a written application to the principal of my college as well, and just inform that I'm working and I won't be able to attend college regularly, but I will make sure that the assignments are on time and the examinations I'll be given. So as long as you convince your university that you are working and you will give the submissions on time, I think you are definitely ready to get out on the field. So it's a yes that you can even if you're a college student.
I hope that answers your question, Paul. So there's another link posted by Aditya Patil, which is about introduction to adventure therapy course. So you can also go through that if you're interested. Next question is by Kapil. If we have to volunteer, how do we go about it? Means how do we come to know about it? Like what sources can you use to know about the courses which are going or which are going to start?
Just give me a minute. Okay. Uh, Kapil, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of companies who provide a volunteer training course. In fact, Journeys is doing one for themselves as well. And these courses usually start somewhere in June. So you can look up online, and there are multiple companies in Pune as well. If you are from Pune, and they provide volunteer training as well, you could maybe sign up for Journeys as well. Uh, they cover all the basics of the particular field. They go on from what risk management is to wildlife skills to adventure skills. They also cover how to manage a camp, how to manage a program. So look up online, you will find a couple of companies who've already started with their training, and I think they should have a couple of seats available as well if it is not too late.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Kapil. Next question is from Krishna. Uh, how how one can build a career in mountaineering after doing AMC from NIM Uttarkashi?
this feels like I'm asking myself the same question, but hi Krishna. So even I've done AMC from NIM as well, and as I mentioned before, that you have to experience all the fields and then see what you're quite interested in. Um, I did advanced mountaineering. I also did skiing, but right now I'm more into outdoor education. Now, what that means is I'm not a lot more into mountaineering, but I'm more into teaching students and facilitating soft skills to my participants. So you can uh, look at companies, get in touch with people where you can now develop a skill where you can lead participants. You can develop your personal skills as well, because now when you look at these courses, most of the times in such courses, uh, there's somewhat of a spoon feeding as well. Like when you do a basic or advanced mountaineering course, you're not really involved in planning. You're not really involved in what your route is going to be. So to achieve those technical skills, I think you need to have a first-hand experience. So I think volunteer is one you can do. There are a lot of mountaineering clubs. If you're specifically looking at mountaineering, a lot of mountaineering clubs that welcome new folks as well. So join those mountaineering clubs, tell them how keen you are. Now, this organization, or to be in this field, you need to be adamant, you need to keep on tagging along with people and pester them that I want to learn this, can you please teach me? So join those mountaineering clubs and tell them what skill you want to develop in, and I'm sure they will help you out with that.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question. So, okay, Krishna, I have another question. How is Knowles? Is it worth?
Yes, Knowles also focuses on soft skills. When you sign up for their course, they focus on your leadership skills as well. So if you're looking at a Knowles course, definitely I'd recommend it. So go for it, sign up for it.
Okay, so Vedanta, I have shared a contact number. So if you want to get in touch, you can get in touch with her. So guys, if you have any more questions, please type them in the chat box. We'll wait for one more minute if you have more questions, or we are good to conclude this session. Or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. Yeah, so any tips to make eternity budgeting, itinerary budgeting, how to approach adventure enthusiasts to join our outdoor activities?
I think you need to first, for them to join outdoor activities, is to promote outdoor activities as well. You need to tell them that it can be safe to get out in the field, provided you have a good skill set or a good leader as well. So develop yourself in your technical skills and your soft skills with itinerary budgeting and how to approach adventure enthusiasts. I think all of that comes with experience, because if you have zero experience and you start with itinerary as well, you don't know what you're going to do and where you're going. So with itinerary, you should go and recce the place, see the place, what it has to offer, what are the risks involved, what is the backup to this place. So with itinerary, you need to see the destination as well. You also need to focus on how many people you want to get in, how many instructors require, so logistics. And with budgeting, I think when you speak to a lot of people as well, um, they will give you an idea. Talk to people who've already been to that place, or have already done a program in that particular area or a locality as well. For example, last week I did a risk management session, and one of them happened to share that they did something differently and it really worked out for them. So when they spoke about it to the next person who was going out there, they did the same thing and it worked out really well. So talk to people who've already been there or have done that, and I'm sure they will definitely help you out with achieving it. But first and foremost, I think you should go and explore it yourself and see if it's really worth it. If there are any risks involved, how can you minimize it? and then put it in the itinerary.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Suchitra. Second question is from Vedanta. Do you see this field doing excellent financially in near future in India?
Yes, Vedanta. Fingers crossed, honestly. This field has a lot to explore, but as outdoor educators and adventure enthusiasts, let me tell you that this doesn't pay you really well, but it does give you the satisfaction of working in this field. Now, when we talk about doing financially perfect, excellent in the near future, I'd say yes. India does have the resources, does have the terrain to to achieve the outcomes and get more people into outdoor activities. It's just going to take time, is what I feel. And if us youngsters focus more on getting people and holding such webinars where a lot more people are involved and are made aware of what outdoors has to offer, I think it will definitely help become really good in the near future.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Vedanta. So I guess this is our last question for today. Uh, so, as you said, you are into life skills training. Please help me understand more about it. This question is by Anu.
Hi. So when I talk about life skills training, it comes together with outdoor education. Now, outdoor education focuses a lot more on students, but when you become an activity specialist and you enhance your soft skills as well, you can definitely involve this your particular skills in teaching people certain life skills as well. Now, when I take my students in the outdoors, I have to focus on team building or empathy, and such skills are usually given by the school to me. So if I'm on a particular program, I will have a look at my notes and say that, okay, I have to focus on leadership and I have to focus on team building this week with my students because that is what the school wants to achieve. Now, when I take them on the field, from the moment I meet them, I start planning out activities and how can I get them responsible for whatever they do. So I have to create a scenario where I have to create an environment where all the judgment, all the decision making is done by the students, so they know what the consequence is for this particular decision that they've taken. My role is going to be to create that environment, to put out the positives and the negatives, to give my opinion, but in the end the decision would be theirs. For example, we are on a hiking trip, and I have told them that you need to waterproof your sleeping bag. Now I'm telling them, I'm also giving them a reason on why you need to waterproof your sleeping bag. It could rain, you could fall in the water, it could snow, and if your sleeping bag is not warm, you are going to be cold at night. Now, I've told them the cons of it. I have told them that if they waterproof it, they're going to sleep really well at night because they're going to be warm. Now it is up to them to whether decide, uh, do they want to do it? Are they going to be lazy and not do it? And say some student doesn't do it and their sleeping bag gets wet, then they know that it was their consequence of their decision, that I didn't waterproof my sleeping bag, so now I have to sleep cold. Of course, after that, I will help them stay warm, but this is where their judgment and decision making works. With team building, I have to facilitate that. If I'm playing a game and they're not cooperating, I need to make them stop when they're doing the activity and tell them that what can we do differently, get their brains working, and tell them that, give them a hint that if you do it this way, maybe you could achieve it. So we want their minds to run, we want their minds to solve the problem, but it is my duty to create and facilitate that, if you could do this, or give it a try. And then at the end of the program, we sit down, we reflect, I ask them certain questions, I understand what they enjoyed, or what they learned from that particular day, or what can I do better so that they can achieve that particular outcome as well. So when I talk about life skills, this is what I talk about.
Cool. So I hope that answers your question. We have two more questions. So Vedanta asks, do you see government putting any effort from their side to promote this field exponentially?
Yes, every year I think they update their guidelines as well, and a lot of people are involved as well. So I definitely see the government putting an effort. I think it is just us professionals, individuals who need to recommend, who need to give feedback, and also put those guidelines into use so that everybody is on the same page.
Okay, so I hope that answers
Sorry,
your
can
question.
I barge in and post one more question?
Yes.
So yeah, Krishna. So what I wanted to ask us: does the fun of hiking or trekking go away when you are leading a team? Because when I go alone, I completely enjoy it, but I go with my friends, I have to keep up with the pace with them. I have to do the first aid. Also, I have to do the leeches thing and everything. So I wanted to ask, how is there a mental thing only, or does the fun still stays there because you become more responsible and take care of them and everything?
Yeah, so really good question. Yes, when you go alone, you're having fun, but I'd say that even when you're leading, it is really fun as well. Uh, I think it is mental, because if you're not ready to lead, then I think you should not take the responsibility and go ahead with it. If you are more skilled and if you've said yes, then I think you should accept the fact that you're going to be responsible. But even if you're responsible and you have the required skill set, you're competent enough, then I think you can still enjoy it, because you're going to have everything under control. Say something else gone wrong, or you're faced with a problem. So just be competent enough in that activity, and I'm sure you will enjoy it as much as you do when you go alone.
Thank you so much.
Cool. So we have one last question by Suchitra.
Yeah.
Once we choose a campsite, can you suggest how can we promote it other than social media? Does tie up with other companies help?
Good question. I'd say it is a trial and error. Try maybe tying up with other companies as well. Personally, I haven't been involved in a lot of promotional activities or events as well. But my only suggestion is to try it, and it's trial and error. You could do really well. It could really work out good for you, or it might not work out. So give it a try.
Cool. So I hope Suchitra that answers your question. I think we are done with the question and answer session. It was really a very wonderful session. It was great to have an insight of the career opportunities in this field. Thank you so much for being a mentor for today's talk, Krishna.
Thank you so
And
much, everyone, for joining.
yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining this session. If anyone in the audience have joined this session late, please do not worry. We will be uploading this session on our YouTube channel, and you will also find our previous session that were conducted on our YouTube channel, that is Journeys Explore. We will be conducting similar talks on different topics every Sunday, and you will find all the details on our Insta page. Thank you so much for joining. See you in the next session.
See you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for conducting this. See ya.